Well, this weekend I was at an open studio event here in Colorado, and an old friend of a friend showed up with a stack of books to give to me. And one of those books was Chuang Tzu, Basic Writings. Of course, I'd never heard of this man and didn't know what he was, but read the introduction and found out that he is a philosopher, a Chinese philosopher from the 5th century BC. So quite some time ago. I mean, that's a long time ago. And he's written this treatise or this set of ideas. Here it says, the central theme of Chuang Tzu may be summed up in a single word, freedom, which of course immediately got me very excited because that's the single word that Vivekananda was concerned about. Essentially, all the philosophers of ancient China addressed themselves to the same problem. How is man to live in a world dominated by chaos, suffering, and absurdity? So this is a great topic still of interest. And so I wanted to read something here. It becomes quite amazing, actually. Most of the stuff that I've read so far falls right in line with the ideas of karma yoga. But here he says, in Chuang Tzu's view, the man who has freed himself from conventional standards of judgment can no longer be made to suffer, for he refuses to recognize poverty as any less desirable than affluence, to recognize death as any less desirable than life. He does not in any literal sense withdraw and hide from the world. To do so would show that he still passed judgment upon the world. He remains within society, but refrains from acting out of the motives that led ordinary men to struggle for wealth, fame, success, or safety. He maintains a state that Chuang Tzu refers to as wu wei, or inaction, meaning by this term not a forced quietude, but a course of action that is not founded upon any purposeful motives of gain or striving. In such a state, all human actions become as spontaneous and mindless as those of the natural world. Man becomes one with nature, or heaven, as Chuang Tzu calls it, and merges himself with Tao, or the way, the underlying unity that embraces man, nature, and all that is in this universe. So we see there this Sanatana Dharma, this eternal religion that sprouts up in all of the world's traditions. And what a clear and wonderful way of thinking about it. He tells a little bit of a story here a little bit earlier about a man who goes to see a holy person, and so he goes to see this holy man up in the mountains here, and he says he tells the story of a man named Nanzhong Chu, who went to visit the Taoist sage Lao Tzu in hopes of finding some solution to his worries. When he appeared, Lao Tzu promptly inquired, "Why did you come here with all of these crowd of people?" The man whirled around in astonishment to see if there was someone standing behind him. Needless to say, there was not. The crowd of people that came with him was the baggage of old ideas, the conventional concepts of right and wrong, good and bad, life and death, that he had lugged about with him wherever he went. And so this notion that this is what's gotten us into our trouble, this bag of old ideas that we carry around in this crowded mind of voices and desires and longings and experiences and memories, that has given us an odd sense of value for things in the world and is always leading us astray and leading us into a bondage to obey the desires of body and mind. And so our first instruction is to let go of all of those misconceptions, preconceptions, preconceived ideas, and to see each moment newly for the first time again and again. And in that purity of seeing, that awareness, will give us a certain objectivity that will release us from this constant gaining idea, this grabbing, achievement, getting approach to life, and allows us to become a spontaneous part of the beauty and the wonder of being. So there we have another example of the Sanatana Dharma growing freshly of its own accord in another society, in another tradition, in another ethnicity, that truth is one, though the sages have called it by many names.